In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You are tuned into the Charlie Rocket Show. You feel that? That's that feeling of, ooh, this is about to be a good podcast episode. Because there's all one thing that we have in common. Nobody wants to make an investment into a podcast episode that sucks. I mean, it's a big investment. But when you see a title like this, What I Learned from Drake's Pool Party, something goes off inside like, ooh, this isn't one of those generic question and answer blah, blah, blah podcasts. This is about to be some stories. And yeah, get ready for some stories. One in particular that changed my life forever. So I am your host, Charlie Rocket, aka CEO Charlie. CEO Charlie will be making an appearance on this podcast today, telling stories of when he was in the music industry and when he also got fired. But Charlie Rocket is also going to be making an appearance today, talking about some things he's currently going through, like Instagram addiction and a little bit of attention whoring and fame addiction. So yeah, this episode, you got best of both worlds. CEO Charlie, Charlie Rocket, a little 2 Chainz and a little Drake. I love teaching stories from CEO Charlie's life because I'm no longer him. But boy, there was some lessons learned. And what's interesting is hip-hop, the most unlikely place of all, can teach the craziest lessons to the rest of the world. And that's what I'm here to do. But to pick back up at the AKAs, because y'all thought I forgot, I know I stopped at AKA CEO Charlie. I am AKA Cadillac Chuck, AKA Knick-Knack Paddywhack Chucky got a Cadillac, AKA Mr. Nike Commercial, AKA Mr. Manhattan Beach, formerly Buckhead Chuck. So let's get this party started. I am excited to have you guys on this episode, and oh, it's gonna be a good one, so let's get this party started. And by party started, literally, I mean a party. Let's take it on back. I'm in Los Angeles at the VMA Music Video Awards, MTVs. We're invited. And I remember a year before, 2 Chainz and I were sitting in a Suburban, driving around LA. And he said, I'm going to make everybody wear all black with gold chains. And I looked at him and I was like, and this man has a vision. That's a very specific vision. He said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have everybody wearing all black with gold chains. Fast forward a year from then, and we're at the VMAs, and every single person who walked across that stage, whether they were a pop act, rock act, or hip-hop act, they all were wearing all black with gold chains. And 2 Chainz looked at me and said, see? We made it happen. And that's something we would have so much fun with in hip-hop. In America, our biggest export is culture. But who creates the culture of America? Hip-hop. So we would play a game. We would go into our offices every day and people like 2 Chainz would change the way people would dress and we would change the way people would ugly Christmas sweaters. And I'll tell one day an interesting story of who came up with the term dad hat, and it became a industry standard term that we all use today. Even Macy's and Tilly's and Zoomies and Lids, everybody uses the term dad hat, and that came, just, spoiler alert, that term came from me and the merch I was doing for 2 Chainz. Anyways, long story short, our biggest export is culture. And in hip hop, we would like to change how people talked, how people dressed, how people danced on a global level. And when we're there at the VMAs, 2 Chainz looked at me and said, we did it. And we did. But after the VMAs, we got invited to a pool party at Drake's house. I'm excited. This is about to be the best weekend of my life. We're in the Suburban. We go to Calabasas. That's where all the celebrities live in Los Angeles. You hear Kanye West rap about it, Drake, Hidden Hills, Travis Scott. I mean, everybody's rapping about Calabasas. And we go through the security gate, pull up at Drake's house. And there's a mansion, but a mansion unlike any I have ever seen before. It was like a log cabin mansion. I was like, this is interesting. Drake has interesting taste. I don't know if I would want to live in a mansion like this, but you know what? More power to Drake. He has a unique mansion. Somebody lets us in the front door and we're walking through and there's girls walking from the left, girls walking from the right in bikinis. And we're going to the back of the house where the pool is. And I look up and there's this huge mountain and waterfall. And people are doing backflips off the mountain, and I'm sitting there. I'm a little socially awkward. I have like a social anxiety when it comes to parties. I never drank. I never smoked. So I'm a little uncomfortable and just in my own zone, but that allows me to observe. And I'm looking around, and I can't find Drake anywhere. Where's Drake? A few minutes pass, a few more minutes pass, and I'm looking across the pool, and there's this little shed, and Drake pops out of it. I'm like, that's interesting. Why is Drake in the shed? And he finally comes over, says what's up to 2 Chainz, asks me my name. I'm Charlie. He said, man, make yourself at home. And he asked us to come follow him. And we're walking around the pool, over to the little shed. And I'm like, I wonder why we're going in a shed. And he pulls in some pool chairs, little fold-out pool chairs. And he says to us, this is where I'm going to record my next album. And I'm thinking to myself, man, we're just in a little shed with a little desk and some pool chairs. And Drake is acting like this is like some multi-million-dollar recording studio. And then it hit me. Drake is surrounded by every distraction that can possibly exist in the world. And he's focused on his next play. See, this is the interesting thing about celebrations. Celebrations are celebrating the last play. But you cannot get where you're wanting to go if you're focused on the last play. You got to be focused on the next play. And I learned an amazing lesson that day at Drake's house. In the midst of every distraction, the most successful people in the world are going to be focused on their craft. It's no wonder. It is no freaking wonder why Drake broke the Beatles record. Now, the Beatles are arguably the greatest band of all time. More album sales than anybody. More album sales than Michael Jackson. More like we're talking about the most prolific music act in the history of the world. They set a record in 1964 for the most top 10 hits in a year. They held that record for 54 years until some Canadian Jewish rapper-singer who was an actor on a teenage TV show came into music and shattered a record that was held for 54 years. Unbelievable. But Drake didn't just beat the Beatles record. Drake beat the record for most top 10s by any solo male. He also beat the record for most weeks at number 1. He broke the streaming record. And at one point, he had the first 8 out of top 10 songs in the country on the Billboard Top 10. But if you rewind a few years before, you can see why. He's at a pool party where you got the girls taking the selfies, the guys hollering at the girls, the friends jumping off the pool doing backflips. And where is Drake? Focused on his craft. And I asked myself, well, damn, who am I? Everybody at this pool party is successful. And I'm successful. But am I distracted or am I Drake? Because even though everybody at that pool party was successful, there was one that was 10 times, 100 times more successful. There's one person who breaks the Beatles record. There's one person who has 8 of the top 10 in the country. And that's the guy in the pool house, in the little shed with the pull-out chair saying, I'm going to record my next album right here. And I think about this story all the time. And right now, in my life, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm dealing with distractions. Yeah, I've had a certain amount of success or whatever, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And I look at it, I'm like, wow, I'm really, really addicted to Instagram. I've dealt with it. I've talked about it on my social media. If you follow me on Instagram, at Charlie on Instagram, you'll see me talk about it a lot. Like, I get really addicted to the information flow. But if you notice one thing about the information flow, the praise that I get, the attention I get, that's all attention for the last play. Me focusing on what people are telling me about what I've done previously will not help me create the play that's going to have me break the records. Instagram is Drake's house. Every distraction. You got the pretty girls over there. That's a distraction. I don't need to be focused on that. Look at these guys over here who are funny, cracking jokes. That's a distraction. I don't need that. What would Drake do in this situation? Drake wouldn't be paying attention to any of them at all. He would be in the pool house. So, boom, okay, I'm distracted. I'm addicted to Instagram. I'm worrying about all the things, all the information flow of the last play. How do I get myself in the mental capacity of where Drake was at on that day of that pool party? Because we all are surrounded by distraction. We are all at Drake's house. I remember when the Duke basketball team brought me in to speak to the team. I'm shooting hoops, boom, in the gym, Cameron Indoor, and boom, the team asked me, one of the guys who works at Duke asked me to come speak to the team, and I told this Drake story. Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett. I mean, this is the most prolific team ever assembled in college sports. In the NBA draft next year, the first 2 picks are probably going to be from Duke. I don't believe that's ever happened before. They wanted me to come in and speak to the team because they said, you know what? These kids, for the first time, these 18-year-old kids have millions and millions of followers on Instagram, and they're superstar celebrities in college. So I came in and I told them about this Drake story, because being at Duke University is like being at Drake's house during the pool party. Are they going to be in the gym or are they going to be at the pool? Are they going to be in the shed? That's the gym, being in the shed. And I'm looking at this in my life with Instagram, or with the little tiny bit of fame that I've been getting and just caught up in the cool factor. And in my life, being caught up in the cool factor has done nothing but get me in trouble in the past. Both times I've been fired in my life was because I was caught up in being cool. Let's take it back to when I dropped out of college and I got a phone call from Interscope Records. Brian Washington calls me and says, we want you to go on tour with our artist named Soulja Boy. And I remember that first week on tour, I'm focused. We're in the van and instead of like listening to music, I had my notebook out and I'm game planning and I'm staying up and I'm managing my website, spityourgame.com, and I'm focused. It was the beginning. I wanted to impress people with my work ethic. And then one day, Soulja Boy gave me this diamond chain to wear. Back then, we called them like Boosie chains. And there's like this flat diamond chain. And I feel like I'm the man. And I start taking photos. And I'm feeling myself. And now I'm like this celebrity cameraman. And Soulja Boy's got the #1 song in the country. And I'm in his music videos. I've got cameos. And I'm starting to holler at girls. And there was this girl he was talking to. And then he found out I was trying to talk to her. And I was caught up in all the wrong things. And then I get fired. Well, damn. Being cool and being broke isn't cool at all. But you know what? When I got fired, I didn't really catch on to what was going on. And I remember I went right back to my mom's basement and I told my mom, I said, I'm going to be a manager. I'm going to manage hip hop artists. She said, what do you know about managing hip hop artists? I said, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to be the best in the world. There's this girl group I found. And I got him a record deal with Interscope Records, and there I am, right back. I wanted to taste that taste again of being on tour like I was with Soulja Boy. I had tasted it once, and I just wanted to taste it again, feeling like the man. And I've got the cool swag, and I'm the celebrity manager, and I'm caught up, and there's one of these, and there was the girl group. They had a friend that I started talking to, and I'm caught up in the girls, and I'm caught up in the MySpace, and I'm CEO Charlie. And sometimes I was trying to be more famous than the actual group. And they got intimidated. And here I am, 18, 19 years old. I don't have the credentials to act cool and famous. I'm living in my mom's freaking basement, but I'm caught up in being at the pool. I'm not even in the shed. And guess what? That girl group, they left me for a big industry manager who was extremely professional. It was Sierra's manager. And I'm right back to my mom's basement. Cool as can be, but broke. And I thought about it. I'm right back in the same spot. But I refuse to make the same mistakes 3 times. I'm at Drake's house. I've been on Nike commercials. I'm on the cover of Runner's World magazine. I've been on CNN 2 or 3 times. I'm getting featured on podcasts. I've got hundreds and thousands of people messaging me and DMing me on Instagram. And I noticed I'm getting addicted to this. I'm getting addicted to people telling me how good my last play was. And I looked in my phone at my time usage on Instagram one week, and it said 26 hours. And I said, oh boy, 26 hours? Charlie, you have a real problem. And the week it was 26 hours is the week after 2 Chainz' wedding. And I posted this picture in a suit. And I got so much attention because I look so good and so many people. And it got like 10,000, 12,000 likes on Instagram. And everybody said, oh my God, you look so amazing. So I'm just looking at the information. And it was so addicting to feel so good because I was overweight. I was chubby my whole life. This is what it feels like to look this good. Look at this attention I'm getting. But that's not what Drake would do. And I thought back to the story of when I was at Drake's house. Drake has got to be focused on the next play if he's going to be breaking all those records. So this week, I'm extremely proud of myself. The time that I spend on Instagram, I'm messaging my 500 people a day. But that's my next play. I'm not focusing on what people have been telling me. Oh, Charlie, you're doing so good. Oh, Charlie, look at what you did. I'm so proud of you in your past. No, I'm creating my next play right now. I am locking into my zone, that same zone Drake was in, to where things didn't have to be fancy. It could be in a pool house and you can make greatness. You can make greatness in a freaking pool house. I want to make greatness. I'm sitting at my kitchen table right now with a $150 microphone recording my podcast. And this is my third podcast in 2 days because I'm going in and I do not have time to waste. I want to break records. I want to have 8 top 10s. I would love on the podcast store if I was the first 8 out of 10. If Joe Rogan can do it, why can't I? If Drake can do it, the kid from Degrassi from Canada who wasn't supposed to be the biggest artist in the world, nobody would have ever expected the biggest artist in the world. The guy who broke the Beatles record would be a singer on a TV show who played in a wheelchair on Degrassi. Nobody would have thought that little Drake would be bigger than Lil Wayne. But anybody can get it. You can get it. There's a lot of people who don't see me coming. They're sleeping on me just like they're sleeping on you. Because most people expect us to be the people jumping off of the mountain into the pool and not be the person in the shed. Because at that pool party, there were 300 people and only one was in the shed. So yeah, people are supposed to expect us to be distracted and expect us not to be great, but I refuse. I'm so glad that I got to experience that day with Drake. And I'm so glad that I got fired from being Soulja Boy's cameraman after I thought I was being cool. And I'm so glad that I got fired from my first girl group because it told me, Charlie, put your suit back on. Get focused. When I signed Travis Porter, I promised myself I'm not going to talk to one girl. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to focus and I'm going to pass out those CDs every night and I'm going to drive from every radio station and I want to be the epitome of what is actually cool, being successful, not the perception of cool. And that's what we're doing today on social media. We're getting this high off of looking successful. That's like people are just masturbating. That's like you're using, excuse my language, but your social media, that's not the real thing. The real thing is being real life successful in your real life. Being a good human in your real life. Being successful by working hard. Now that's cool. That is what is actually cool. Saving your money and not showing off, that is actually cool. That's where I'm at right now. I am not worrying about the last play anymore. I'm only worrying about the next one. So anytime I'm facing a distraction, I ask myself, who am I at the pool party? Am I the guy jumping off the pool? Or the guy taking the selfie, showing off to the world how cool I am? Or am I the guy in the shed? And I want you to do the same exact thing. Woo! I told you this was going to be a good one. Y'all know how I love telling stories here on the Charlie Rocket Show. I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and I've got way more coming for you. I'm also about to be launching Rocket HQ and Rocket University. I'm looking for 100 founding members of Rocket University, and if you're interested in being a part of it, please email me or DM me. My email is ceocharlie@gmail.com. In the email title, say founding member. And in the DM, just say, Charlie, I'm interested in becoming a founding member at Rocket University with you. You might be wondering, what is a founding member? A founding member is somebody who we're going to build this around. So I'm looking for 100 people who want to support and be a part of it. And you're going to be a part of like a focus group where we build the university with the features and the tools and everything that you feel it should have. So it's like we're going to build it together. So email me or DM me. I appreciate you tuning in to the Charlie Rocket Show. I'm super excited to keep telling you these stories. Please share this with a friend. What I would recommend is screenshot the podcast page. Go on to your Instagram stories, tag @Charlie, and tell everybody, check out this podcast. You never know, it might help them as well. So, checking in with you next time. This has been another episode of the Charlie Rocket Show.